it's VC10 Aviation here, and today I'll be making how to make a custom model video. Now this is just an update. Now in November 2021 we had a look at the Air France Skyteam, the MEA Skyteam A320, and we were going to make it to the Air France Skyteam A320. So in November 2021 I got the MEA Skyteam A320 by Phoenix. This is a 2014 release, by the way, those wondering release dates. This aircraft is now being re-registered. So this aircraft is now registered Tango 7 Mike Romeo Delta. This aircraft in 2014 was registered under the French registration. I think it was maybe later that year, or sort of a few years later it was re-registered to the San Marino register. So I think this aeroplane still has the livery, the MEA Skyteam livery, but it's just been re-registered. So there's a few contingency plans that you do need to take into account if you are going to start this model. First of all, there's going to be a few inaccuracies. Now that's going to be apparent. Sort of the registration is not going to be 100% accurate. The placing of the decals are not necessarily going to be definitely maybe placed accurately or in line with the actual real aeroplane. Like with my one, it's probably not, it's not good, it's just not placed neatly, well, not placed neatly, but you know what I mean, it's not placed, how, it's meant to be or something like that. But, oh well, that's another thing as well. The other thing to take into account is there will need to be a contingency plan. For example, I had a contingency plan. If the Air France decals never went on, I'll just use it as a Skyteam A320 anyway, like a Air France, but not without the titles, for example. So there's that as well. So you've always got to have a contingency plan when making a model aircraft or decaling a model aircraft. For example, if one, for example, a tail didn't go on, you could say you'd have to have a contingency plan or something like that. I would always recommend having a contingency plan when making a custom model aircraft. It's just so it's not like a big letdown, like when it doesn't work. There's always a plan B, not sort of if plan A doesn't work, sort of thing. But overall, so that's a few things. There is a few accuracies as well. So for example, the aircraft in real life has sharklets. The aircraft has 2 CFM56 engines. That's correct. The other inaccuracy is the registration, likewise, as I think I've mentioned earlier. And the other sort of accurate point is it's in the Skyteam library as well. So both are, sort of, there's a few inaccuracies and accuracies as well. So that's something you've got to take into account of making a sort of Skyteam sort of custom. For example, if you've got a KLM 737 in the Skyteam library and you made it into a Delta Skyteam library, you've got to take into account that the registration is not going to be as accurate as what it would be to the real aeroplane, basically. So it's just one of these things you've got to take it into account, sort of when doing it. That's what I do anyway, sort of thing. So we'll have a little look at the aeroplane now. So we first started off with this. So this was the first decal. Yeah, again, I must admit it's maybe not been placed sort of 100%. Sort of it's not sort of properly placed, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it, but that's the one sort of thing I would say. However, I did find it quite difficult, sort of trying to sort of what would be the best way how to place the decals, because some people place the aeroplane like sort of flip the aeroplane over and do it that way. However, I find it easier just leaving it as it is like that, and plus I do have slight shaky hands sometimes when it comes to like sort of fiddly things like this. So that didn't help as well. So that's the sort of thing there. But overall, I think it looks good. Apart from that, at the end of the day, if as long as you're happy with the result of your custom model, as long as you're happy with it, then that's what matters. It doesn't matter, whether, at the end of the day, I'm more than happy with this, especially for my first attempt at making a sort of custom. I have made some before, and I have done decaling before, like a sort of model kit, like sort of that. But I've never done like an aircraft for my model airport, like sort of custom model. So here we've got the decal here, which I've added. This is not too bad. It could be maybe moved over a little bit. I would say maybe positioned a little bit higher. But apart from that, I'm happy with it. Yeah, again, that's the one thing I would recommend. If you do like make a model aircraft and you're happy with it, that's what matters. It doesn't matter whether, there's always going to be, there's always going to be loads of opinions. But at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, then that's what matters. And I'm overly happy with this aeroplane. There is areas I could improve, but however, that comes over time. And it's just one of those things. The more I do it, the more, and the more sort of you make custom models, the more you'll be better at it. So that's one advice I would sort of take away as well to those which are going to start out making customs. So the other thing I would like to say is thank you to the Flying Spanner for the inspiration on how to make this model. This is where I got my inspiration from to make this model.